Let's go. So finally, here it is the Eastern Europe video of various countries that I've collected, and I'm just throwing it together into one video. Excluded from this video, besides the countries that I don't have any banknotes of, is Russia, Ukraine, more of Moldova and Transnistria. Otherwise, quick overview: Czechoslovakia, Lithuania, Macedonia, Georgia, Romania, Moldova, Hungary, Poland. And why not begin with Poland? Because that's one of the rather quick ones. Here we got a 20,000 Zloty note from 1979. As with most of the Eastern Bloc during the Cold War, Poland saw inflation. It would get a lot worse than this. So there are 20,000, I think even 200,000, and bills. So, but this is more of the start of the inflation period of the 80s. One thing that surprises me with a lot of the Eastern Bloc currencies is that some of them are surprisingly uncommunist. For example, this Polish note from socialist communist Poland is rather not communist at all. There can be some references sometime to socialism or communism, but this one, not much at all. It's hard to think it's a communist country. But we are moving on from the Polish communist era to today. This one followed in a loot that I bought, and it's a rather, I believe it's an older design, but it has a rather new date, because it's a 2016 note. So it's barely 8 years old and still valid. And I didn't know I bought a valid note, actually. Obviously circulated. But still valid. I can go into Poland and purchase 50 kronor worth of goods with this one. Not bad at all. Rather nice looking as well. Wonder if that's a celebration of the perhaps first Polish coin or something. I can't go into depth and research all of these notes, but awesome. Well, we are moving on from Poland. Now, Hungary is a really interesting example, because unlike most of the countries here which has changed their currency one time or another since the Second World War, Hungary is an exception because they have managed to retain the same currency since, after World War II, in the period after World War II in the late 1940s. And they haven't until today replaced it even once. It's the Hungarian Forint. This one is from 1984. Circulated, obviously. But as with the Polish note, this one doesn't scream communist as well. And interestingly, the first note, you can see the communist coat of arms here, but this design was first issued in 1947, I believe, with the old Hungarian coat of arms, the non-communist coat of arms. So this was actually a non-communist build from the beginning. That was simply reissued during communist Hungary, and even afterwards, into the 90s even, by non-communist Hungary. So that's rather interesting. It's a not colorful note, but it's a pretty note, and I would say it even looks a lot older than it is. If someone said this would be issued in 20s or perhaps even the 1800s, I wouldn't be that surprised. Actually, it looks really old. So that's that one. We are moving on to more modern, but still the same currency. Here we got 200 forint, twice the previous amount, with the quote new coat of arms that is the same old coat of arms that was pre-communist Hungary. This one is from 2001. For some reason, but I suppose Sweden isn't better. But, well, for some reason, Eastern European countries have a lot of medieval monarchs or medieval leaders or some such. But Swedish banknotes have kings and scientists and now just famous actors and writers and stuff from the last 100 years. But Swedish banknotes don't have any medieval people on them, unless you count Gustav Vasa as one of them. Well, it's as with the other one and with the next one, Hungary for some reason have just single colored bills, like it's black and green with white background. It's not very colorful at all, but I suppose it's easy to distinguish. 200 forint and as we will see 500 forint is barely anything at all due to recent inflation in Hungary over the last 10-20 years. Still valid banknotes. I was like when I bought these, but oh, they're still valid. Perhaps I made a bunch of money buying them, but they're rather worthless. But they are rather pretty. This one as late as 2018. The design is old though, from the 90s. But they've kept reissuing it with a new design and new features. And this one has a safety feature, like a safety strip. And I have no idea why, because the value of this banknote is like this is a coin in Sweden. This is like less than 10 crowns. This is nothing. We don't even have a safety strip on the 20 or even 50 crown banknotes. And this is like less than our highest coin. So they like went all in and providing a safety feature for a banknote that's not worth anything at all, basically. And now they have 2,000 forint banknotes and even more, I believe. But one thing that surprised me with researching for this video is that many countries, if you translate the exchange rate of Swedish crowns to these foreign currencies, that the highest denomination banknote is only around 500 crowns. And like our highest banknote is 1,000 crowns. So their highest banknote is half our value. But of course, the money in those countries are worth more there due to lower living costs. But for some reason that surprises me. And even that, despite inflation, they haven't issued any higher denomination banknotes than for like the highest one they had for over 20 years. When they probably need to issue a new denomination. We are moving forward to Romania, which is unique because they got plastic banknotes, polymer. Yeah, I don't know if you can feel it through the lens, but this is not paper, this is plastic, and it even has a see-through part. Yeah. So I suppose they are hard to counterfeit when they're made of plastic. Another awesome feature, you can see the gradually increasing size of the number, serial number. But another feature is that the first two digits of the serial number is the year that the banknote is issued. So you can see that this banknote was issued in 2006, but it began in 06. Anyway, so this is the excuse my pronunciation, but the Romanian leu, unlu, I don't know. But that is the pronunciation that we'll have to do for this video. So yeah, rather awesome. I mean, it's harder to damage these banknotes due to they were issued it's harder to damage them. This new Romania went through large inflation, like I said, most of the Eastern Bloc countries in the 80s and 90s. So this was a redenomination of the Romanian currency in 2005. 10,000 of the old leu was replaced by 1 leu. So this is 10,000 of the old one. Moving on. But like I was saying, I'm divided on the plastic bill. I like the feeling of paper, but I suppose there is some advantages, like being harder to damage, harder to counterfeit, because getting the right materials and the right technology, like having a see-through part of the bill, like that isn't that easy to reproduce to fake. But that's just my opinion. Perhaps it's easier than I imagine. We also got a 5 lu or Finky lu Li note. This one is a musician, I suppose, because of the note. And a violin on the side. These are still valid, I think. I researched a lot of notes here, which I made some notes of, but I might be getting some things mixed together here, and I hope you will forgive me for that. And finally, we have a 10 lu. Cecily. Still horrible pronunciation. Perhaps I got some of them right, at least. Yeah. Moving forward, I will also show another country that is Romanian wannabe. Shares the same language basically. Moldova, which also have the lu, unlu. This one rather new as well. 2010, and I think I got a 5 lu note as well. That's even newer. But I will save that one for the Eastern Bloc video with Russia, Ukraine, Moldova and Transnistria. So it looks like this. I only included it in this video because we got two notes of the same currency but different countries. Or currency name rather, not the same currency. The Moldovan and the Romanian lu. Moving on. We have these strange things that I bought. With these strange made up letters. It's hard to believe they're actually for real. Sorry, Georgian, but they truly look like fantasy letters. It's the Georgian alphabet, and it's the only country that's using them, right? So let's take a look. So this is the first post-Soviet currency of Georgia. This one is rather stiff, by the way, like a hard paper. So this is 5,000 Kuponi, I believe it's called. A coupon. Kuponi. And these were issued during from 1993 to 1995. And holy shit, they were issuing 4 different sets. None of them invalidated any other, but 4 different sets, series of these banknotes during the same year in 1993. This is one of the series. And here's another of the series. Oh wait, this one was 1994. But basically, they issued lots of different designs for the same currency within 2 years, and they were all valid. That's a rather unique state of being, I guess. But well, each country is trying something new, and new we are getting. And these ones went all the way up to 1 million. So I have 5,000, 50,000 and 100,000. Another inflation currency of the post-Soviet Eastern Bloc. Interesting, like you hold it like that and then like that. So they're not, yeah. They were surprisingly cheap, by the way, for being uncirculated. Yeah. One strange currency to the next. It is the Republic of Lithuania, or the Lithuanian Republic, or I suppose that is what it's saying. From 1991, I introduce you to the Lithuanian Talonas, which was a currency, question mark, another coupon system in post-Soviet Lithuania. To start off, they first had a dual currency system, keeping the Soviet ruble and introducing these ones at the same time. So you had to both pay in rubles and talonas for a transaction to be valid. But that was a stupid system, so they just stopped it. So they kept both of them for, I mean, you need an expert on this subject to even explain it. Yeah, eventually they just dropped the ruble and just kept using this one. And I also like the decimalization that is a 0.20 talonas, like at 20% of a talona. And this went like half a talona, 0.50, 1 talona, 2 talona, 5 talona, 10 talona, 20 talona, 50, 100, 1,000, 5,000, yeah. Like, yeah. So this is also a piece of history. Circulated, perhaps I paid a bit too much for them, but, well, a piece of history. And then we got a later Lithuanian banknote as well. This one, well, not super new, but it's still from 2007. And this one is commemorating these two fellows. I guess we have to read up on it. Supposed to wear like pilots or navigators or some such. Because on the back side we have a propeller plane going across the Atlantic. The Lithuanian currency has been replaced by the euro as late as 2015, I believe. The Polish Zloty, the Hungarian Forint, the Romanian leu are still in use. These ones were replaced by the new Georgian lari, I believe it was called. This one was replaced by that one was replaced by the euro. But we're moving on. Now, these are all just the same, so we can just pick one of them that's looking rather decent. This one is 10 what? 10 denarii, or dinars, I guess, from Macedonia, or North Macedonia, as it has renamed itself to. Still valid, I believe. This surprisingly, but like there were inflation for many of the Eastern Bloc countries during the 80s and 90s, and basically all of them stabilized in the 2000s, and this is one of them. The Macedonian currency has not issued any new denominations and have been rather stable. So these 25 year old, or even almost 30 years old banknotes are still in use. In Macedonia, so many of them as well, and just tens for some reason. Nothing else. Not a 5, not a 20, not something else. Just a huge pile of tens. 10 dinars. And finishing up this video, I can also mention that Serbia was supposed to be featured, but I also managed to find some Croatian banknotes, so I will make Serbian, Croatian and Bosnian banknotes in a separate video. But to end this video, let's go back to the good old days of Czechoslovakia. This is 10 korun from 1960. This is a rather pretty banknote that also looks very old. You could say this was 20-30 years older than it is, and I would have believed you. It looks like something that could have come out of Germany from the 20s. A hydroelectric dam as well. Upside down. Yeah. So a 10 Korun bill from 1960, the older series. Here is the new series to replace it, as late as 1986. Czechoslovakia was late to replace their old 50s and 60s bills. They only did so during the late 1980s. So the new ones wouldn't have been in use for that long before the fall and breakup of Czechoslovakia. They were used until the breakup, so they weren't recalled or something. And I suppose they didn't knew at the time that the Eastern Bloc would be falling within 5 years of them being issued, or the breakup of Czechoslovakia either, for that matter. So another 10 Korun of the newer series, with a view of the mountains on the backside and some berries. A pretty bill, and one of the most colorful actually. Another interesting thing that I don't have featured in this video, but of this older series, there was 25 Korun banknotes. That's interesting because you usually have a 20, like 5 20 banknotes on a 100 bill. And they eventually submit to that as well by issuing a 20 banknote replacing the 25 ones. Instead of having 425 banknotes on a 100 bill. This one was issued in 1970, and it's a rather thin or like small bill, but the width of it is rather large, and it's also not printed like most bills on white paper. It's printed like on a bluish paper as well, and this is also Czech national hero, Jan Žižka, I believe, featured on many bills. And like I said, many Eastern Bloc bills surprisingly showed a lot of nationalist symbolism on their banknotes. Surprisingly so for communist countries. But at least for this one, you can actually see that it's a communist country. Or at least I suppose you can. Red coat of arms. Pretty communist at least. Probably more obvious if we check out the newer 20 banknotes issued as late as 1988. Because here we can properly see the red star upon the coat of arms. Another very colorful banknotes. I mean, it might actually win an award for one of the finest, prettiest banknotes. We can see the comparison with the older series and of the same series but lower denomination. And of the new series, we also have a 50 note. A Padesiat Korun, or however you would pronounce that, yeah. That's one skeptical guy. And what is this? Is it Prague or is it another large city? And more berries. Or is it grapes? It looks like grapes. Yeah. This series of Czechoslovakian banknotes. Really, really nice, in my opinion. And finally, we have the huge, one of the largest banknotes in my collection. It's the 100 Stor Korun banknotes. This one from the 1961 series. This one is looking communist as all hell. Farmers, industry, red stuff. That was an atom. Communism. Yeah. And a view of Prague, I suppose it is. Looking very nice. So this bill was actually until the 80s the largest denomination in Czechoslovakia, and obviously due to its huge size you can well understand that. I can also add that unlike many of the Eastern Bloc countries, Hungary, Czechoslovakia was one of the few that saw rather small inflation. Like I said, it issued 500 and later 1,000 korun banknotes. But that's it, like 1,000 korun. Like Poland issued their 20,000, Yugoslavia issued 50,000, Romania issued 50,000, 100,000, a million even, or 500,000. I mean, they were inflation in all of the countries. But some countries had a lot more inflation than the rest. So Czechoslovakia did rather good. And another country that I forgot to feature because I really only have one banknote from them, that did good inflation-wise. Not economically, because not basically any of the Eastern Bloc countries did economically any good. But one that inflation-wise didn't do that bad is one coming up right here. It's Karl Marx with the 100 mark from the East German Republic, 1975 issue, with his eyes staring right into your soul. Yeah, East Germany, this was their highest denomination, 100 mark. They were, for emergency reasons, for war or otherwise, issues of 200 and 500, I believe, that were never circulated. But among the circulated banknotes of Eastern Germany, this one was the highest. And I think, did you only issued 100 banknotes as your highest denomination and didn't have to print or issue any higher ones, while Czechoslovakia had to budge and issue 500 and 1,000, while some others had to go straight off the rails, and as with Romania issued then 20, 50,000 and so on. Then you did really good. Then you did really good in my opinion. Here's another one, by the way. And you also have do not falsify this or we will kick your ass warning. And the East German capital of Berlin with Der Palast der Republik. That was the symbol and pride of East Germany. Today it has been torn down. And a reconstruction of the royal palace has been built in its place. there was a royal palace on the grounds to begin with, but it was destroyed during the war. So, well, enough of that. Thank you for watching. And as I said, videos on Russia and the Eastern Bloc, as well as more of modern day Yugoslavia, is coming up. So watch out for that.